Howdy, y'all. It's Kathy from Rust, Paper, Scissors, and I'm here today to talk about Halloween. And I feel like rust is a must for Halloween. And I love to use the rusted elements in all my journals, vintage or Halloween, Christmas. I think having a variety of rusted items adds a cohesiveness to the journal. It's a lot more than just paper clips, although I do sell paper clips. I have a variety of rusted items that I sell, and I wanted to show you how I use them and perhaps give you some encouragement or ideas on ways that you could use them. I will also talk about an alternative to the rusted items, and then I will also talk about how to make labels easily, and we'll do that at the end of the video. But first, I just wanted to show you one of the things that I do is I make these dismembered skeleton tassels, and then I attach it with a rusted bulldog clip, and then this is just a little metal rim tag that I made a label for, and we'll talk about and show how to do that later on in the video. But I did want to talk about just some other rusted items that I use and how I use them. One of the items is a money clip or banker's clasp. This is just a way to clip things into a journal, or you can use it to hold a variety of papers together. I wanted to demonstrate each time you rust something, it's going to be different. Sometimes the metals are different, or I don't know what happens, but they don't always rust the same. And so this is just an example of how things can look different. So you just need to be aware that the rusted items might not always look the same. Okay, and then a relatively new item in my shop are these clamps. And I like them because they're not too thick. The part that's really wide usually sticks up above the page. And then this one, it has a hole in it, so I just added a little charm, and I just wanted to demonstrate what that would look like, perhaps in the journal. So see if you hold that up, it sticks out. You don't really see the charm on the top, but on the side you would see it. And let's see what that looks like. Sometimes it's hard for me to grasp with my thumb. So this would be an example of how it looked on the side of a journal. And so those are fun to use. There's also, you could add ribbon to the hole, and then that sticks up out of your journal. This is just what it looks like plain again in the hole. Then another type of clip that I sell are I call them alligator clips and duck clips. They're hair clips that I rust, and then these are the alligator clips, and then this is the duck clip because I think it looks like a duck bill. So I like to use those, and this is an example of just a little blackboard tag that I got at the Dollar Tree. I took the wooden clothespin off the back, I covered it with some sticky backed velvet just to finish off the back, and then I added the rusted alligator clip. And it's going to just be very easy to clip onto the journal. Another thing I like to do, when you clip these onto a page, I don't like the clip to show on this side, so I cut that off flush with the tag, and then the back you can see. Well, I did it wrong. Let's see if I can get it on there. The back shows you where it's like a tuck spot. So, but in the front, I'm doing a terrible example of this. Try one more time. But you just have the tag on there, and then the back is you can tuck something under there. And then the nice thing about it is it sticks out from your journal and you can see it. So that's another way to use those clips. This is an example again of the rusted bulldog clips. I use them, I make them into closures, and I add a chain, and then this one I've added a little skull to it, so it just clips onto your journal as a closure, and then the little charm hangs down. So just another way to add something to a journal, but I like them. I use them as closures a lot. So that's the small, that's the clips. I also use our rust ribbon crimps, and these I use them to put on the side of a journal to make an embellishment on the side. These are like little crystal balls. I also use them to make belly bands, where I put them at the top and bottom of a page, and then I run a ribbon and it's a belly band. So there's some other ways you can use those. So I like to do the ribbon crimps a lot. And then this is just a little book dart that I sell, the little rusted book darts. And all it is just a place to maybe highlight something on a page. So I like to use those. So that's an example. I only have one here, but I sell 2 sizes of the book rings. You can use them to make a ring-bound journal, or you could put tags on there and use them to hold tags. This is just a mini binder clip that I rusted. That uses obvious. And then these are some small, I call them baby clamps or clips. And again, the profile's not too bad, but they're very small, but they do have a tiny little hole there. And so you can add a charm. So this is an example of just a little charm that I added to the journal. And then I think these would look cuter on a small journal. So let's just demonstrate on a small journal how that looks and does. So that's that. And then I also have used them with these little vials that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I filled with glitter. And then this one says bone dust. And then you could just clip these on the side of your journal. And then you've got a cute, just another little embellishment. This is the same idea, but it's leftover bones that I had from making the dismembered skeleton. And again, you just clip it on the side, and it just adds a cohesiveness to the journal. So something kind of fun. Let's see. This is just a skeleton binder clip, and I just wanted to show you could add ribbon to it, or you could add charms, and it's just a binder clip. But I like the name. Go with Halloween skeleton. So that's an example. Then lastly, I was going to talk about I sell these book plates and numbers, and just ways that you could use them. The book plates, I like to add like experiments or journal, and then you can just add them to the front of your journal, or you could add them on the signature. I also, show that you can make them vertical. And then, but I sell them plain in my shop. And then this is just an example how you could use it on a tag and you could insert something in there. Or this one is just the book plate is highlighting the focal point of the tag. So that's just a couple more examples. And then lastly is I sell, again, these book plates. And again, this is something I wanted to show you how each different rusted element can look different. So, but those again you could use on the front of a journal or on the front of a signature page. This is an example of just doing it on a rusted tag. I added the book plate. And so that's those examples. Let me clear this off and we'll talk about the alternatives to rusted items that I have in my shop, and I'll be right back. For Halloween, I think a great alternative to rusted items are just black metal items, and a lot of places sell the black metal along with the silver and the gold plated metal items. So I wanted you to know that there are other options. And this is just an example of, this is a little picture turn that I use to hold together envelopes or to attach something to a page, and then you just wanted it closed for, so I add those, and I'll show you real quickly how I do that. It's very easy, but you just have your envelope, and then you take, this is what the little, it's called a picture turn button, and this one is black, and I just put it up next to my envelope where I'm going to put it, and then I just hold it there, and then I make a little hole. Okay, and then I take a mini brad. Well darn. Okay, so I take the little mini brad and I put it in there, and then you just open it up as best you can. And now you have a little closure. Well, if I could get it to stay. There you have a little closure. I have a whole bunch of these, so I'm going to sell these in my shop, the turn button and the mini brads. And then I also have quite a few of these just regular normal size brads that are black, so I'm going to have those in my shop also. And then a while back I tried to tarnish some, just a second, I'm going to, eyelets. I tried to rust some eyelets, and they didn't really rust, they more than tarnished, so they look almost like a gray. I don't know if you can see that in this light. My lighting's not that great today, but they're basically gray. But I think they would look good with a journal, that, you know, Halloween journal. So I'll have those for sale in my Etsy shop. Another alternative to rust or black would be what I consider, or what it's called, the antique bronze finish on some items. So I think just as long as it's not shiny silver, I like it better in my journals. I think it looks more cohesive. So the antique brass is an option. The black is an option. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was how to make some labels using the Avery website, and I'm going to set up and I'll be right back. The last thing I wanted to talk about today was making your own labels for your journals, again, to have that personal feeling or ideas where you can find just the right sentiment of things that you want to say or a picture. What I like to use is the Avery website. You can make like return address size labels. You could make the larger labels. They come like 2x4, all different sizes, and they have round labels, just a variety of labels that you could use. Another thing that I like to do is I like to use the template, but I will print it on a full label sheet. So I cut it out myself. Sometimes I just do that. Sometimes I don't always have the label paper that, the little return address labels. So, but I wanted you to know it is an option that you can print a page onto just a full sheet of full label. You could even just print it on copy paper and cut it out. You don't have to use label paper. But this is just an example of how you could make a variety of labels, and it's pretty quick. It's pretty self-explanatory. There is a little bit of a learning curve. I even made some where the type was vertical rather than horizontal, and I thought that would be fun to use in my journals. The label paper is usually pretty easy to maybe distress. So that's one idea. Then another idea that I had, and I use these a lot, is I like to make my own little bevel rim tags. So if you take the full dimension of a tag, and let's say this is a 1 1/4 inch tag, I would use a 1 inch circle. That would be the inside part of this tag, would approximately be about 1 inch. So if you have a tag, you take 1/4 off and then you make your circle that size. So what I'm trying to say is, depending on the size of my metal rim tags, see they come in different sizes, I will make a template of the different sizes. And then what I do is I take a round template, and then I'll make a light circle around there. That's something that I can use as a guide to cut these out if I don't have a hole punch or a punch that cuts that size. And then if I use a light enough color, if I distress it, it usually blends in and you can't really see it, but it gives you a visual when you're cutting it out, but it also gives you a visual on where your text will fit inside the circles, and then ultimately inside your tag. So that's just some ideas of different things that you can do with the Avery website. There's a lot to it. This is just some more examples of they have different fonts and just the different sizes that you can do. The other thing they have is, and I'm not sure, and I may have the name wrong, but they have on the website, you can go in and add an image, and they'll have Avery images, they have stock images, you could even upload your own images. So they have quite a variety. Well, under the Avery images, they have a section called GHS, and I think that stands for Global Hazard Symbol. And so, but there's a variety of these symbols that would be fun to use in a junk journal. They have, like radioactive, poison, another radioactive, flammable liquid. Let's see, there's, infectious substances, flammable liquid, poison. So there's just a variety. And then I even made, this is the little labels that I made for the little vials that I use as charms on my journals, so you could even make those. The reason I showed you the two colors was this is just a clear label, and then this is a craft colored label, and it just shows the difference on what the labels would look like on the different types of paper that you print it on. So I thought I would show quickly just how to use these labels very quickly. This is an example of the spontaneously combustible, and I just distressed it, and then all I'm doing is I'm taking just a metal tag that I've rusted, and I'm just going to peel this off, and then I will just stick it on there. And I need to move it over just a tad. Let's see if I can get it. There. Then you have a cute little tag that you could add to a page in a journal. You know, you could clip it on there. So that's another example. And then this is the tag that I'm going to make. I'm going to cut this out. I'll turn the video off and come back, but I'll cut it out, and then we'll attach it, and you can see how easy it is. But I really love the Avery website and encourage you to use it as a resource. If you're new to junk journaling, you might not have all the resources to have access to a bunch of printables or kits, and if you can make things your own and you know, make it your own, I think I just find that very appealing. So give me just a second and I'll be right back. Okay, so let me explain again. The template that I used, this is an 1.5" metal rim tag. So I wanted the inside of the circle, which is probably 1.25 inches. So I made my circle or my template 1.25 inches. And so I cut it out, and then all I'm going to do is just distress the edges. That way it disguises the little line that I had on there. And just the label paper takes the ink very well. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to label it. I'm just going to get it on there even if I can. Like, let me make sure I got my, okay. So there I have it. Now, one last little tip or trick, but now you've got your own little tea-dyed metal rim tag with your own label on there. And then if you're ever trying to punch a hole and you want the, you know, it to line up, what I do is I will get the side where the hole is, and then, you know, this is the part that cuts the hole. What I do is I put this in there, and then I kind of line it up with the puncher, and then it will cut my paper. And so I'm going to do that one more time. I think I got it off just a little bit. Okay, there. And now you have a hole exactly where your the other hole is, and you can use it. So these are just some examples of things that I've made for Halloween journals. Haunted Forest, Witch's Castle, I'd turn back if I were you. So just a lot of fun things. So those are just some ideas on using rust in your Halloween journals, an alternative to rust. And then creating your own Avery labels is really a doable project, and it's fun, and they really have a lot on the website. I encourage you to go and check it out. I do appreciate your time. If you have a question or want to leave me a comment, I would appreciate it. These items will be for sale in my Etsy shop. And thank you very much.